Welcome back to Low Stress Math with Mrs. Bono. Even though the exam is on Chapter 5, there will be some review questions because it is a cumulative exam. Now, the word cumulative means it's everything we've done this year, up to and including the chapter we're currently working on. And I try to make every exam cumulative so that you don't forget the stuff we learned in the beginning, but I always want to review. So let's take a look back at the first 4 chapters. Now, Chapter 1 was exponents. Now you have the Chapter 1 packet. You can look at that while you're doing the problems. Let's take a look at this. 4x to the 4th y times 2x to the 6th y to the 3rd. How do you do this? So you multiply the numbers and then you use the product rule. And the product rule states keep the base, add the exponents. So I'm going to do 4 times 2. I like the big dot better than the x, but whatever, because I have this x. Now look at the difference between the variable x and the multiplication symbol x. Yeah, the multiplication symbol is in basically Arial, and this is kind of like a script x. That's how I differentiate between the two of them. So keep the base x and then add 4 plus 6. Keep the base y, and then this one doesn't have an exponent, so I'm going to put my own 1 there. And I'm going to add 1 plus 3. So multiply the coefficients. 4 times 2 is 8. Keep the base, add the exponents. 4 plus 6 is 10. Keep the base y. 1 plus 3 is 4. So your final answer is 8, x to the 10th, y to the 4th. Now for this next one, I don't have any coefficients, so I just have to use the quotient rule. It's division, so that is the quotient rule. So you keep the base and you subtract the exponents. -2 minus 3. Now, if you don't have a calculator, you can keep the first number, change minus to a plus, and change the sign of the second number. Or as you guys like to say, keep change. M equals -2 plus -3. So m is to the -5th power. Bingo. Now this one's different. This is, of course, still the quotient rule because fractions are quotients, but I also have coefficients. So I'm going to start by dividing the coefficients. 12 divided by 4. Keep the base, subtract the exponents, 3 minus 3. Keep the base, subtract the exponents, 6 minus 2. And I end up with 3 x to the 0 power, y to the 4th power. Now, it depends on what the directions say. Now, these directions say your answer should not contain any negative exponents. And, that means I have to go back and fix this one. But this doesn't have any negative exponents, but it does have a 0 exponent. And any number to the 0 power is 1. So what this is really saying is 3 times 1 times y to the 4th power. Well, 3 times 1 is 3 times y to the 4th power. And that's my answer. And now I can't have this as an answer. No negative exponents. What are negative exponents? Well, you have to reciprocate them. That means you put them over 1 and you flip it over to get 1 over m. And now it's not a -5 anymore. It's a +5. That negative exponent tells you to reciprocate your fraction. So if it's not a fraction, make it a fraction and flip it over. All right, this is the power rule. That means that everything in the parentheses is to the 3rd power. So I'm going to write it that way. 2x to the 7th 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. X to the 7 plus 7 plus 7, 21. Now, I could have done it this way. Distribute the 3. 2 to the third power and x to the 7 times 3. You get the same thing. 2 to the third power is still 8, and x to the 7 times 3 is 21. Either of those two methods works just fine. Here I have just a negative exponent. 5 to the negative second power. Again, it's not a fraction, so I have to make it a fraction and reciprocate it to get 1 over 5 squared. Now, I could leave it like that, or I could solve it because it says simplify. So I'm just going to solve it, 1 over 25. Now, if it's a multiple choice answer, both of those are not going to be there. One of them will be there. So you have to make a decision whether you need it or not. So the next one is quotient rule again. So divide the coefficients, 9 divided by 3, and then subtract the exponents, x to the negative third minus negative 6. That is without a doubt a calculator thing. But 9 divided by 3 is 3, and negative 3 minus negative 6 is positive 3. The next chapter was supposed to be scientific notation, and I ain't gonna lie. I skipped this chapter because COVID. But you can do all of these problems on your calculator by just putting it in scientific notation mode. So press the mode button, use the arrow keys to get down and over so that the word psi is flashing. Press enter and clear. Now your calculator is in scientific notation mode, and you can put the numbers in and press enter, and it changes it to scientific notation mode for you. So you don't actually have to know what the rules for scientific notation are. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Nobody uses scientific notation. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's not real. So we're just gonna use the calculator to do it, because your calculator can do this for you. So 2 and 34/100ths times 10 to the negative third, 2 and 3,402 times 10 to the positive 2, and for the next one, 0, 0, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and this one is 2 and 3/10. See, not so bad. And all of these can be done quick as can be in the calculator. Now, for these problems, I don't actually have to put the parentheses in because order of operations, and the calculator will do the order of operations for me, says that it's going to multiply before it adds, and it'll multiply before it subtracts. So you don't need the parentheses. But this one does need the parentheses, because the parentheses are what tells you to multiply in that situation. So let's take a look at this. 2 and 34/100ths, and there's a button on the calculator. See this little button here, 10 to the n? That is a scientific notation button. You press it, and 10, and the little button flashes, and you press 4, and now you have an exponent. The only thing is you have to remember to press this button to the right to get off of exponential notation before you put in the next number, and then you press that 10 to the n button again, and it changes it into an exponent for 10 to the nth power, and all you do, ba-bam, 2 and 697 thousandths times 10 to the 4th, and the calculator does the hard work for you. So 2 and 697 times 10 to the 4th, and next one, same thing. I'm going to keep using this button here that's 10 to the nth power. So I put in the coefficient, press times 10 to the nth power, and get off of the exponent before I put in the subtraction sign, put in the coefficient, 3 and 6/10, times 10 to the nth to the 5th power. Ba-bam, 3 6/10 times 10 to the 5th power. All right, and the next one, you could actually use the laws of exponents to do this. Multiply the coefficients. 3 times 4 is 12. Keep the base, 10. Add the exponents. 7 plus 5 is 12. Oh, darn it. That's not scientific notation. Maybe I'll go back and actually use my calculator and see what the answer is. And then maybe you can see how it got there. So parentheses, 3 times 10 to the n, put in the 7th. And parentheses again, because remember, parentheses mean multiplication in this situation. 4 times 10 to the n, 5. Don't forget to close your parentheses or you get that error message. And 1 2/10 times 10 to the 13th. Let's look at my answer and this answer. I have 12 here and 1 2/10. So the decimal moved over 1 to change it to 1 2/10. But this number got smaller, the exponent got bigger. That's basically scientific notation in a nutshell. And that is enough for now. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.